Welcome to Picks with the Professor, the show where a real statistics professor gives you sports betting tips. I'm your host, Professor Sides. For the latest updates and information, you can follow me on Twitter at Professor Sides. This Major League Baseball episode covers Game 6 of the 2022 World Series, scheduled to be played on Saturday, November 5th. In case you're new here, check out the webpage on the banner. It's www.pickswiththeprofessor.com/new for a primer and explanation. Otherwise, the goals for this episode, as always, share key information about this game, give you some things to think on, and explain why certain plays are or are not being made, both equally important in this one. I never recommend blindly tailing or fading any pick, but rather to hear the justifications and thought processes to make sure you're fully on board with me or against me before investing your hard-earned money. As always, remember there are no locks in gambling, so what I provide are loves, likes, and leans. It is A, B, and C grades to indicate my confidence level with respect to scaling wagers. However, please understand that good and bad variance will occur, so as much as I'd like to say will be profitable each and every day, that is an impossible reality for any gambler. So far, the totals modeling has been spot on in the World Series. It's gotten us 2 winners. It's pushed once, and the 2 times I didn't play it because I was nervous about what was going to happen, it was correct as well. Fortunately, the sides haven't gone as well for us. And the Game 5 one, frustratingly, wasn't about the model, but was about how I played it. And it's frustrating sometimes. You just see something and you decide to go with it, and you get one game, and that's how it plays out. We did end up with a 1-run game, of course. I think the frustrating thing for me is I'm always talking about continuing to stick with our principles. And my method most of the season has been stick to money line unless it's minus 200 or higher. The Astros price was less than that. And I didn't stick with my own fundamentals. So it's a good lesson to all of us. We are all still learning here. We never want to stop learning. And it's just a good reminder, as always, just stick to what we're doing, what works. And had I done that, we would have had the money line and a little bit steeper of odds, but a winner instead got a little greedy, and it cost us with those plus odds on the run line. So, a good lesson for us all to be reminded of. But another thing that I love here in Game 6, and I think I really want to talk about, I think is important with regards to the total based off of the weather. But before we get to that, some reminders. Please hit that like button if you're on YouTube. Also, if you aren't yet, please consider subscribing or following. It's free, and if you turn on notifications, you won't miss any of the college basketball, MLB, or college football content that this channel provides. Let's go to that Patreon page if you're looking for some extra benefits. Membership starts just $3 per month. You also got some extra tiers there that provide other benefits, including access to our Discord chat, where we have a lot of fun there talking about the games, line movements, injuries, all sorts of goodies there as well. But we'll get right to it here. All lines courtesy of Bet Online. Sign up link in the show description. And current as the time of this recording on late Thursday night, a reminder, the price you see on the screen in parentheses is the money line price needed for those sides to reach a certain level play according to Sideline. Game 6 is back in Houston. It'll be Zach Wheeler and Framber Valdez. I do assume Zach Wheeler will start, but just as a note, if you're making your play on the Astros, especially on the money line where you get this option, do, as always, remember to hit the selected button and not listed. In the event that Wheeler doesn't go, I'm almost certain he will, but there was the whole wanting him to have that extra day's rest for Game 6 rather than going in Game 5. And that gives me like a 0.1% chance that there's nervous that there's something going on there with his lack of velocity. I don't think there is, but just in case, it's super lucky. But take that 1 second to click selected. That way, just in case something weird happens and he doesn't go, you've locked in a good price. Because if it's not Wheeler, this price is going to skyrocket on the Astros. We want to lock in that minus 140 either way, assuming that Framber does go, which of course he should. One of the better pitchers in baseball all year. I've talked about it all season long. I love this guy. It's not sexy. He doesn't get the respect that a guy like Verlander does, but I think he's every bit as good. He outdueled Wheeler in Game 2. I think he's going to outduel him again here in Game 6. Sideline says it should be Astros minus 159. As you can see on screen there, the price needed for an A grade is minus 144 better. The current price is minus 140. I'm running to the window to lock this play in at this price. It's a fantastic number. I think that Wheeler's a good pitcher. I think Nola's a good pitcher. I think Verlander's a good pitcher. And if y'all have heard me, seen me on Twitter talk about this, on the Discord chat, we've talked about this. I had every bit of confidence that Nola would look just fine and that Verlander would look just fine. And both guys looked okay. Verlander a little shaky, but got through it. Nola looked great and then kind of ran out of steam there. But and same thing with Wheeler. I'm not banking on him looking terrible because he looked bad in that last start. I don't think that's the right way to look at it. What I'm concerned about is I'm not sure Zach Wheeler's 100% healthy. You saw it with the velocity issues in game 2, and you've seen it with the injury late in the season coming back. I'm just not sure he's 100%. Obviously, he's going to go 100%. Even if he is 100%, that's the thing, is the model is pretending he's at 100%. There's no discount for that. So if he's not at 100%, this number should be even higher. But even at 100%, this number acts as if, and it did in game 2 as well, which is why I love the Astros, and that one had an A-grade play on them. Then this number acts as if Framber Valdez is not every bit as good as Zach Wheeler, and he is. If you take Wheeler, I said this before, take Wheeler, Valdez, Nola, and Verlander and throw them all in a hat, I think they're all 4 about the same. They're all fantastic pitchers. And when you look at it, you've seen it here in games 4 and games 5. This Astros offense is better than the Phillies offense. That doesn't mean the Phillies offense can't go off and score a lot of runs. We saw that in game 3. But in general, this Astros offense is just a little bit better. The bullpen, just as good as the Phillies bullpen is in, just a little bit better. Games in Houston, the Astros should be bigger favorites than this. I love this minus 140. Gets an A grade from me. And the other thing I want to talk about here is the total. Total in this game is sitting at 7, and Sideline says exactly 7. Here's the thing. The weather right now looks great for this game. And what that means is there's a decent chance that Major League Baseball is going to order the Astros to open the roof. The Astros chose to open the roof for one of the games in the ALCS, and it's my belief, I don't have any insider information, I don't know, but it's my belief they decided to do that knowing that this scenario was possible where MLB would say you need to open the roof. Here's the thing. We don't have a ton of data on what the ball does when the roof is open. You can go back and look at that game in the ALCS. One of the nights, I think it was really chilly, and so the roof was closed. One of the nights it was open. You go back and look at game 6 in the World Series last year. Braves scored a lot of runs, some home runs, but I mean, the ball that I was there. I remember that ball that Soler hit would have been gone, in the Polo Grounds or whatever, right? It didn't matter where that ball was. I think they played one regular season game with the roof open. It just was a weird weather year. You go back in years past, it's the same sort of thing. You typically get a couple early, maybe a couple late, maybe a playoff game or two. You just don't have a lot of data on it. One of the more recent games here that the roof was open, I noticed the wind was blowing in directionally, but it was swirling. And that's the thing with these dome stadiums, your track-sport stadiums, the wind can be blowing one way, but based off the way the walls hit, it can kind of hit and swirl and come back around the other way. It gets weird, and we just don't have a lot of data. So unless you have an understanding of this and really know what you're looking at here, it's not easy to predict, especially this far ahead of time with the total, exactly what that wind's going to do and how it comes in that stadium and where it's going to shoot out to, whether it's going to shoot out to left, shoot out to right, shoot more across. It's just hard to tell at this point. I'm treating it as if the roof was closed, and that gives a total of 7, and it's a complete stay away from me. And unless I can find some information, and you hear a lot of this, if the roof's open, the ball does this or whatever, generic, but there's not a lot of good data behind that. What's really going to matter is the temperature, and if it might be chilly towards the end of the night, and if so, that's going to make the total go a little bit lower. And again, what exactly happens with that wind? So I want to get closer to this game. Check the Patreon. I'll update that if I have a total on that. I would lean under 7 right now if I had to guess, just because I like these two pitchers, but I really need to see more about what the wind's going to do, because if there's going to be 10-mile-an-hour winds and it's going to hit, swirl around, and then bounce and then shoot out, especially if it's out to straight right or straight left. If it's out to center, it won't help us much. The center field is really deep. But if it's out to straight left, pop flies are going to get out in the Crawford box. If it's out to straight right, it's still a pretty short right field porch. Balls are going to fly out there too. So we need to do a little bit more research and get closer to the wind and figure that out. And unfortunately, at this point, we just don't know a whole lot about that. So this is why I'm saying I'm getting this video out now, because I'm telling you, I want to run to the window. I don't know what this number is going to do, if it's going to go up or down, but I want to run to the window, lock in the Astros minus 140 is the A grade. I want to hold off on the total and wait until it gets closer till we have a much better idea about what sort of wind activity is going to happen with an open roof. Closed roof, different story, but right now it looks like a nice night, and that open roof is going to be something that we're going to have to keep an eye on here in trying to play this total. So again, right now, if I had to, I just go under 7 because I like these pitchers, but Sideline says 7. So for right now, it's just a pass, just a wait and see, and let's reevaluate here Saturday morning, maybe Saturday midday, when we have a better idea of what exactly is going to happen in that ballpark. Otherwise, that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Picks with the Professor. Don't forget to subscribe so you can ensure all the sports betting content we've run on this channel is dropped right into your feed, especially as we move into college basketball season coming soon. We'll see you again at some point in the near future, whether it's for one more baseball episode or not, whether it's college football episodes of Week 10 that you're catching up on, or whether it's that college basketball episode 1 for the 2022-2023 season. Whenever we see you again, until then, best of luck. And remember, you can eat your betting money, but please don't bet your eating money.